Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a beautiful princess called Snow White. She lived with her father, the king, but she had no mother. The king married a wicked queen who was jealous of Snow White's beauty. The queen wanted to be the most beautiful woman in the land, so she used magic to make herself look young and pretty. She made Snow White do all the housework for her and treated her like a servant. Snow White had to cook food, clean clothes, and make the beds for the queen. She was very sad because the queen was so mean to her. One day, Snow White was walking in the garden when she met an old woman. The old woman asked Snow White what was wrong. Snow White told her about the wicked queen. The old woman said, "Don't worry, my dear. I know a place where you can hide from your stepmother." The old woman took Snow White to a small cottage. "This is your new home now," said the old woman. "I have already made food for you. You can eat this and rest." Snow White was very happy. Finally, she could get some rest and be away from the wicked queen. When the wicked queen learned that Snow White had left home, she became very angry. She went to the old woman's cottage and asked, "Where is Snow White?" The old woman lied and said, "I don't know who you are talking about." The wicked queen was not convinced. She used magic to see inside the cottage, and there she saw Snow White sleeping in a bed. The queen was furious and decided to kill Snow White. The wicked queen took a basket of apples and mixed a magic potion into them. These were no ordinary apples. They were magic apples that would make anyone fall into a deep sleep. The queen went to Snow White's cottage and knocked on the door. A little dwarf opened the door and asked, "Who is it?" "It's just me," said the queen. "Can I please speak to Snow White?" "She's asleep right now," said the dwarf. "I'm sorry, but we don't want to talk to you." The queen insisted, but the dwarf would not let her enter. The queen got very angry and threw the basket of apples at the door. Then she ran away. The dwarf opened the basket and saw the beautiful red apples inside. He took one apple and started eating it. He did not know that it was a magic apple, and soon he fell into a deep sleep. The other dwarfs came to see what had happened, and they all took turns eating the magic apples and fell asleep. Only Snow White was safe. When the sun went down, Snow White lit up some candles and went to check on the dwarfs. She found them lying on the floor, fast asleep. Snow White took an apple and ate it. She felt very sleepy and laid down next to the dwarfs. Soon she was fast asleep too. All 7 dwarfs were sleeping in the cottage, and Snow White was sleeping in the middle of them. In the morning, the birds started singing, and the flowers started blooming. Snow White opened her eyes and saw that the dwarfs were still asleep. She did not want to wake them up, so she went to the window and started cleaning it. Suddenly, she saw a handsome prince riding a horse nearby. Snow White waved at him, and the prince stopped his horse. He had never seen such a beautiful girl before, and he decided to visit her. Snow White opened the door and asked the prince, "Can I help you?" "I'm lost," said the prince. "Can you please show me the way out of the forest?" "Of course," said Snow White. But when she turned around, she saw that the prince was looking at her very closely. She thought he might want to kiss her. Snow White closed her eyes and the prince leaned in and kissed her. When she opened her eyes, she saw that the prince was gone. Snow White went back inside and saw that the other dwarfs were still asleep. She did not understand why she was the only one who was awake. Then she noticed that there was a small hole in the wall and some fresh air was coming in. Snow White looked outside and saw that the handsome prince was standing there. He had come back to see her again. Snow White went to the door and waited for him. When the prince arrived, Snow White asked, "Why did you come back?" The prince said, "I want to marry you." Snow White agreed, and the two of them got married and lived happily ever after. Now let's learn some English with the help of this story. A long time ago, there was a king and his daughter. We use a before words that start with a vowel sound. A is a vowel, but an is used before words that start with a vowel. Our starts with a vowel sound, so we use an ak. The king married a woman who was jealous of the girl. After the king, we have the word married. In this sentence, we use who because it refers to a person who is used to ask questions about people. My name is student name. I am from your country. I am learning English. We use my before our name and your before your name. My and your are possessive adjectives. The girl had to work hard in the house. We use had to talk about something that you were forced to do in the past. Had to work is past, which means that a specific action happened before now. The girl was very sad because the queen was so mean to her. We use because to connect two sentences. The first sentence tells us what happened. The second sentence tells us why it happened. One day, the queen went to the old woman's cottage and asked, "Where is the girl?" This is an example of reported speech. We use reported speech when we are telling someone what another person said. If the sentence contains a verb in the past, we must change it to the past. The old woman said, "I don't know who you are talking about." We use don't to make negative sentences in the present simple tense. Don't is a contraction of do not. She used magic to find out what was happening inside the cottage. Used to is past tense. It means that an action started in the past and may be continued in the past. She was fast asleep. Was is the past continuous tense. It is used to describe an action that was happening when another action happened in the past. For example, she was sleeping when I arrived. The prince rode his horse through the forest. We use rode instead of ride because it is past tense. Rode is past tense of ride. She had never seen such a handsome man before. Had is past perfect tense. It is used to describe an action that happened before another action in the past. They got married and lived happily ever after. Got married is past tense. It means that a specific action happened before now.